Good morning, fam. I'm a little nervous, but we're going to get through this. My name is Suzette Chang. I'm with an organization called Thick Descriptions, and today we're going to talk about hair. So before we go into hair, let me give you a little bit of background about what Thick Descriptions is about. Thick Descriptions is an anthropological, it's also an organization, sorry. It's also an anthropological term, which means in essence that human beings can be viewed as being thick in description. So in essence, it pushes against the classifications that we have used to describe each other. So when you would look at me, you would see an African American female, but maybe you don't know that I have Native American ancestry. Part of my heritage is white. I am a mom, I am a wife, I am a variety of things. I have a degree in librarianship. I am an anthropologist. And so when you look at me, there is no way that you could tell that all those things are who I am. You would just look at me and say, oh, that's an African American female. In addition, I am married to a Jamaican whose last name is Chang and who is part Asian. So, yeah, makes it very interesting. So the term thick descriptions is pushing against this classification that we have made ourselves very comfortable with, that just categorizes us into one or two boxes. So with that said, thick descriptions offer science empowerment and cultural intelligence. And so for this particular video, we are going to talk about cultural intelligence, and the topic is hair. So, have you ever wondered about the history of hair? And I'm not just talking about like your history of your hair or history of hair for your family, but just history of hair for women. And then we can bring in the African American part as well. Historically, hair has been viewed as a crown and glory, and that is biblical. So, for those of you who are Christians or who believe in the Bible, you are very familiar with that passage. Well, for many African American communities, that particular passage has been taken out of context. And in the community that I was raised, my hair was my was my crown and glory. So why would I cut my crown and glory? So if you can imagine growing up in the 60s and 70s, and every Saturday it was a ritual. Every Saturday, my hair was washed, my hair was put into these knots like this, probably not as neatly as this, but for the most part, you get it. And then I was put under a hair dryer, and then my hair was pressed. And if you don't know what a press is, it is a comb that is made out of metal, and it is put, back then it was put on a stove. Right now, a lot of people use hot irons. And then it was heated, and it transitioned the texture of my hair from being kinky to straight. And with the assistance of sometimes Vaseline was used on my hair. Hair rep was big. We spent a lot of money on hair rep. Blue, oh Lord, I'm forgetting the name of it. But with those ingredients added to my hair and my scalp, and my hair was pressed straight. And Google or YouTube pressing African American hair, and you'll get the context. Try to look for it where it involves using hair rep or some other type of oil to help keep the hair straight. And so that was a ritual. It was almost like, I think I remember when the process first began, like when I was 4, 5, 6, I don't recall that happened, but roughly about 7 or 8 years old, give or take. That's when, and it was like a rite of passage. That is what you did. And as far as my family was concerned, that's what every female was to do. you were to get your hair pressed. Now, perms weren't a big thing in my family. Perm was something, our goal was to stay natural. And so putting chemicals in our hair was not advocated for at all. And so uh, we would, my sister and I, we would get our hair pressed and many times get it curled. In the same process, you get the curling iron that is made out of metal, and there were um, several different sizes. And so depending on the size of the curl that you wanted determined which curling iron was used. Same process, you put it in put it on heat. It gets to a certain temperature. The person that is doing your hair takes a small portion of your hair, curls it, and you had small curls, barrel curls, whatever the case may be. And so this was what happened every Saturday. And so if you can imagine, this took a couple of hours. And as a kid, you don't get that. You don't understand the cultural importance of getting your hair done. Because for me, the little scientist that I wanted to be, I just wanted to be outside and play. I wanted to dig in the dirt. I wanted to do a variety of things. And my mother, who was the person that did my hair every Saturday, I happened to be one of those kids whose mother was a licensed cosmetologist. And so she took our hair very important because in our culture, you did not walk around with your hair looking crazy. And I'm quoting. So to not look crazy meant that you got your hair pressed. So think about that. 6, 7, 8-year-old who every Saturday for a couple of hours, you get your hair washed, which takes roughly about a half an hour. You get your hair put, or at least me, I got my hair put in 2 knots. Then it was taken loose. I was put under a hair dryer. That would last for about another hour because my hair is thick. And then I was told to sit still as my mom got the hot comb and sometimes the hot curlers and pressed and curled my hair. And as many kids, but because I was a scientist, it was much more important to me. I would ask the question, well, why do we have to do this? Why can't we just cut my hair? Because again, for me, it was far more important to be outside and play and explore and do all the things that I thought I was put on this earth to do. And the response that I often received is, again, you can't go around with your hair looking crazy. Well, why? And I didn't understand the cultural significance of getting my hair done. That was what it was called. I was getting my hair done. And so it was often tied to the scripture in the Bible of a woman's hair is her crown and glory. And so, why would you cut your hair? Why would you do anything to your glory but take care of it, meaning to wash it every week? And that was another factor too, because it was believed that in order to be close to God, you had to be clean. And cleanliness is next to godliness. And if you are not clean, you are not godly. Let that resonate. Okay? Doesn't even address what do you mean when you say to be clean. Are you talking about cleaning your house every day to where it's spotless? Are you talking about keeping that's a whole nother conversation. But put that into the context of being a kid and being clean, meaning you were getting your hair washed every Saturday. So that was that factor of being clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness, and that your hair, a female's hair, is her crowning glory. So the expectation was that you have long hair, that you have, that it be pretty. And so in my community, pretty hair meant straight hair, which again in my community meant that a goal was for my hair, our female's hair to look similar to our white female sisters. And when I say sisters, I mean sisters in humanity, not sisters biologically. There was this expectation that our hair was supposed to be straight, and because the goal was to look like them, and that defined beauty. Now, I know in the natural hair movement that's going on right now, and I'm very proud that it exists, there is a big push against that. It's important also to understand that why that was the way it was and still is in many communities, because the goal was to look like our white sisters. Just let that resonate for a moment. It was not okay for me to rock this outside of the house. So again, got my hair washed, got my hair braided and put in knots, was put underneath the dryer. And don't get me wrong, my hair was extremely healthy. That is a reason why I rock the knots now, because my hair, when you leave, can't speak for you, but when you leave my hair alone, my hair just does amazing things. And there are so many natural hair YouTube and other platforms that talk about natural hair for African American females. But just let that resonate for a moment. The goal was for my hair and anyone else who looked like me to look like a white woman's hair. Meaning, it wasn't okay for my hair to be like this. Just let that resonate for a moment. So, crowning glory, hair for women. Cultural influences as it relates to what our hair can and cannot look like within certain spaces is the pressure has been and continues to be very challenging. There are still spaces that I go to now in Oklahoma. Now, I can go to a predominantly African American community and I get so much love. Oh, girl, your hair looks beautiful. You rocking that, da 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 da. And that's awesome. However, let me go into some other communities where I am the minority. I am the only person that looks like me. I get looks, I get stares. I have yet to be questioned. And so one day we can definitely talk about my history of my hair and being questioned, even when I lived in California. But I can tell the looks on their faces. They want to say something, but they don't know how. They want to have a conversation, but they don't know how. Because my hair is healthy. It is happy because it is just like, my hair is similar to, when you think of my hair, and I'll let it down eventually. When you think about my hair, think about think about your favorite jeans. So if you wash your favorite jeans too much, or any particular clothing, be it made out of jean material, be it made out of, polyester or anything like that, after a certain period of time, it's going to break. It's just not going to be happy. And the primary reason is because that particular material is not meant to be washed and worn and broken down every day. It needs a break. Well, my hair is pretty much the same way. So the longer I leave it alone, the better it is. Hence, when you see people that have dreadlocks, or I prefer to call them locks, the longer they leave them alone, specifically African Americans, the longer it'll grow, and it's just happy. So think about specifically women, and this conversation is open for men as well. How are you defining culture within the context of your hair? Are you allowing the history of your culture to define it? Are you bringing your history and incorporating contemporary thoughts and views as it relates to your hair? Are you primarily focused on different hairstyles and not taking into consideration that your hair needs to breathe? It is a good, okay, so here's the scientist in me. Your hair is a living and breathing organism. So no different than your skin, your nails, your eyebrows, which is hair, anything that is on your body, it needs air. It needs to breathe. It needs to be cleaned. And it needs to be maintained. And are you allowing culture to define how you take care of your hair? And this is not a good or a bad thing. This is a conversation. The goal of this YouTube video and many more to come is to address those conversations that I'm confident all of us have in between our ears, but for whatever reason, we're not having it with each other. We're not empowering each other with the knowledge that we have or could have because we are getting wrapped up into certain hairstyles, or we're holding on to historical meanings for verbiage, and that's not what they meant. Case in point, do you know why it says in the Bible that a woman's hair is her crowning glory? Have you read that passage and then did some more reading and read the history, that what community that particular passage was speaking to? Are you clear that it was speaking to you? These are some of the things that I want to talk about. And I'm inviting you to follow me on YouTube. Be a part of this conversation. Don't allow historical meanings to completely define you. Believe it or not, you can contribute to who you are, holding on to some aspects of your history, understanding it, and moving forward. Have a good day, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Again, please follow me on YouTube, Thick Descriptions. Look us up on Facebook. Look us up on Instagram and Twitter. We would love to have you. Take care.